Man, let's get back to having some fun. How about that? Once we had the picture, Mrs. Aaron settled on the day for dinner tonight, obviously, and I guess you know the rest. Holy hell, I haven't talked that much in who knows how long. My throat felt like I was giving a blowjob to someone wearing a sandpaper condom, and the money was not worth it. And I'm supposed to be saying raunchy things like that. What are you doing? You come on my channel and you say things like this, or you make me say things like this. Fang snorted out a laugh, we're slapping our hands over her mouth. A wide-eyed stare pointed my direction. Her face was one of embarrassment, and one part waiting to see if I noticed. Fang, I can hear you. It's them. Oh my god. At least the parents didn't seem to pick up on my mumbling. It just made this whole exhausting affair of the evening that much better. Saving her a bit of shame, I chose to ignore her snickering outburst. Her eyes looked bloodshot and puffy from whatever emotional outpouring she had with her dad on deck. It's the sweet life on deck. No, that's not how it goes at all. Obviously, she didn't need me giving her a hard time over laughing at my running commentary. If anything, I took a little comfort in the fact that my snarky wit was coming back to me. If she sometimes found my comments funny again, that wasn't a bad thing. I'm glad that we didn't do an over-excessive telescopic ear moment, because I would have been a little mad about that. I smacked my mouth in an attempt to combat the cotton sensation that overtaken as I continued to narrate what felt like half of my lifetime in a marathon session. Thankfully, Mrs. Aaron's observation skills were on point, depositing a tall glass of water in front of me before I could ask for anything. While I chugged that, I kept an eye on the large patriarch. It doesn't rhyme. It's not an alliteration. It's not patero. And even if it is patero, patriarch, like the pt is a very dominant, like it screws up the rhyme. Sitting across the table from me. He barely blinked or moved throughout my explanation, just silently sitting there and soaking in everything like a giant statue. On occasion, he'd piped up to lob a question my way for more information, but it mostly was just him staying quiet and processing everything. He was probably doing some kind of cop detective routine in his head, if I would have guessed. The only reason I wasn't squirming throughout was because Fang was giving me assurances. And Miss Aaron, by that point, looked more curious and tired than intimidating. He's probably like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to pay alimony. To who? I don't know, but I'm paying it. Finishing my throat salvation beverage. I let out a sigh of relief. Ugh. Oh no, he let a sigh of relief huff out of me. That's a weird way to put it. As I placed it back on the coffee table. My sigh goes right there next to the cup. Folded my hands together, waited the man's response. What a polite gentleman. He had his hands steepled together for his face, while his eyes stared past me to the wall like a pair of knives. Sir, you really shouldn't cut up your wall like that. I like the wallpaper. I'm teaching a friend of mine a lesson about timing their stuff when they have the energy to actually follow up on it. I like that this is very Ripley. I mean, he's bouncing back a little quickly, but we'll see what he has to say. He hasn't said anything so far. He's just talked to Fang, and I feel like at this point, reality's kind of kicking back in again. When he'd come back with Fang from the deck, he'd look almost as rough as she had. His eyes were puffy and bloodshot, with the telltale dried streaking of tears had been shed away. He asked me if I thought the Chief Commissioner Ripley Aaron was even capable of getting misty-eyed a few months ago. I would have laughed at you. I would like to remind you that the chapter ended with, Ripley asking, was it my fault? Did I fuck up? Oh, no, wait, wasn't it that he was disappointed? Oh, shit, I forgot. Hold on, we need to remind ourselves. We must be reminded. Our minds must be clear, as crystal. Crystal clear, you might say. Yeah, it was like, I'm so goddamn disappointed. I want to ask why. Was it all my fault? Ugh, it's such an... I like how we're just not following up on that. Instead, Anon's like, my throat's so dry. But seeing him standing over the graves of his children for hours had fractured that illusion, and everything since then had led to it being fully shattered. The man was still intimidating as hell. That probably won't ever change. But it was undeniable that he was still a guy that felt the same emotions we all did in wake of what happened. Whatever he and Fang talked about on deck had crumbled the last bit of stoicism. Too bad we had to switch POVs right when I was about to figure it out through my telepathy with Fang. I wasn't allowed to see the man shed tears. This was family only. I feel like being someone's ghost sitter does make you part of the family in some way. But it was weirdly nice to think that he finally seemed to be, I don't know, a little more real in front of his daughter for once. I mean, she's a ghost. Her realness is debatable, so he owed her that much. It had been early evening when we made our big move, and it was well into the night after my rambling, hopefully coherent, little history lesson to Mr. Aaron. He was absorbing it all, and I didn't have the faintest idea how to react in the end, or what his ultimate verdict on me or Fang would be. All we could do was wait and mull things over. However it shook out, we made a damned solid attempt at bringing her dad and round up things, and she should feel good about that. I'd have to tell her later when we're back home. Tell her that later. Eventually, the man let a long, slow sigh as he leaned back into his recliner, both hands covering his eyes and sliding down the sides of his face. Mrs. Aaron, who had been standing by to the side the whole time, leaned over and tapped the underside of her snoot against the top of his head in solidarity. She had known the bulk of everything already by that point, so none of it was a surprise to her. Even so, hearing about it again looked like it still taking a toll on her. It was old news, but I imagine hearing what Fang went through if she were your daughter would be tough to the stomach, no matter how many times you've already heard it. Silence smothered the room as the three of us waited for Mr. Aaron to finish processing everything. It's a hell of a lot to go over. We were all content to give whatever time he needed. Admittedly, it's also partially because I'm pretty sure if I make the first move, I'm just dead. I'll just instantly evaporate in front of him. I wasn't looking forward to the walk from the bus stop to my apartment this late at night, but it all had to be done. If we were lucky, things would turn out well, and Fang would get another notch on a penance belt or whatever the big man upstairs tried. It's the belt he whips you with, by the way. It's ow, my ass. Hell, maybe this is why accessories kept disappearing. But McGard was spiriting away parts of it bit by bit, and she was cleansed enough to chill out with her and have something. Like she could fit through the door. Part of me wanted to laugh at the absurdity, but I hadn't come up with a better explanation. Either way, it was a far more pleasant thought than the idea should just cease to exist at some point in the future. But that's the scary part. By the way, there's chapter 13. The man uploaded chapter 13 this November 13th. Man, can you imagine? Just a week away. Maybe Father Anthony was really... I doubt Father Anthony knows anything. Like, there are quite a few priests who will just tell you to your face, I don't know, man. Like, I have faith in God and everything, but I can't legally step into the court of law and say, technically no murder has happened because the bitch is up in heaven now, you know? Also, to become a priest, I'm pretty sure you have to, like, study theology. Like, you gotta know your shit. You're not just allowed in, so, you know, doubts are to be expected. That's what the big G is for, man. Give you a little shoulder pat and go, good luck, chump. That's a lot to take in. Mr. Aaron finally said, snapping out of my thoughts, his normally gravelly voice came through weirdly soft. Wait a minute, he's been drinking my water! Yeah, it is, I stuttered briefly, giving a firm nod of my... Why do you have to say you agree? Why not just give a firm nod? That is better that you two know. Both Fang and I think so. I let the whole Father Anthony think about penance, about how Fang had been feeling reconnected people. Was the right, logical choice. He stared at me for a moment before his eyes started to drift to my left side, searching for something. Was he? Oh, yeah. He had a stroke. Yeah. I tilted my suddenly to my right, where Fang was actually sitting. In retrospect, sitting in the middle of the couch was kind of stupid if someone was going to try and use me as a point of reference for where Fang was. Man, I don't think this thing shit through, do I? We gotta build new habits, Fang. This really don't work that way no more. Something I need to keep in mind in the future. Fortunately, he seemed to catch the slight movement and meaning as I snapped a Fang. Being the sudden target of his attention after just sitting idle while I spilled my guts about everything caused it to tense up a little, made a wings flutter. No, I didn't spill everything. What a weird thing to interject here. I did tell him about Naomi and how she fucked with us. He showed a positive opinion of the girl, but Fang and I agreed that she had been an exhausting tax of a person. In the end, she was just as stupid as we all were. Admittedly, it's kind of weird, you know? Like, we'd probably get kicked out if we just started throwing shit about her. That's also a problem. She didn't deserve what happened to her, and she didn't deserve us pissing on her grave or telling everyone about what she didn't. I feel like you're like... She doesn't deserve you telling people what she actually did. She doesn't deserve to be held responsible for the consequence of her actions. Because that's fucking stupid, Anon. Listen, I don't care how dead I am. If I fucked up, you tell someone. You tell them to their face. I don't deserve your pity. Especially if I'm dead. What am I gonna do? Haunt ya? Call you a big meanie as I rattle my chains? Let old ghost lie, however the saying went. Anon, can you not say that? That's ghost-phobic. That's spectrophobic, Anna. You can't say that. I'm your ghost friend now. Something average made a companion fix if you ever do anyone good. Yeah... I do not imagine that it would bring them stress. Like, oh, the girlfriend we thought was so perfect for Nasser turned out to be the fucking reason everything happened. Oh, that's great. Great. So we didn't notice twice. Also left out everything on the last night before the shooting. They knew she came over and stayed the night, but I gave no details. Fang didn't push me at all to bring it up, and the parents didn't ask, so thank fuck. That was something I was all too happy to bury in the back of my mind forever and to think about again if I could. But if everyone to pretend we just had a fun little slumber party and watched anime before. Well, Fang went and shot a bunch of people. Resisted the urge to frown. Got that whole thought. Moving on. We left out various other, less important aspects. But it was safe to say that both Elder Taros were fully brought up to speed on the important parts. Yeah, that's a clumsy-ass sentence. We left out less important... Why don't you just say the unimportant aspects? We left out the unimportant aspects. And then you just admit this because it is implied that only the important parts have been mentioned. Bada bing, bada boom. Don't oversell your words. It's not even a big offense. It's just like, for expediency. It's already a long sentence, so every word you can chafe off is a victory, or you can make a new sentence. Either or. Get out that sandpaper, buddy. I watched Mr. Aaron consider his daughter, or where his daughter was sitting, since obviously he couldn't see her for a moment long before I spoke again. As you would expect, Lucy, I have many questions. I'll ask you several on the deck. But if you answered them, I couldn't hear it. But now that Anna's here to speak on your behalf, there's really only one that matters right now. Fang swallow hard in anticipation. I offered her a glass of water, and she slapped me on the head, calling me an idiot. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just stupid. Why'd you do it? He asked, his eyes narrowing slightly. It's probably because there was that weirdo from the FBI who was doing, like, you know, like, brain analyses. Like, I figured out exactly the modus operandus. It's because she was jealous of the lottery. Mrs. Aaron no doubt anticipated the question, given she didn't move at all. Frankly, she'd probably been thinking to herself since we revealed Fang to her. Odds are she and him talked a little bit, because you're stuck in your thoughts and aren't paying that much attention. It was the obvious question, but any time Fang was asked for, it was clear she didn't have an equally obvious answer. I mean, questions and their obviousness are not the same as answers and their obviousness. The answer I thought it was, getting back at everyone that fucked her over, clearly wasn't that right. Whatever had been the reason, if that had been the reason, she would have killed me first. The question shook her to the core when Stella first asked it. Every time the matter was brought up since Fang, you probably should just put a comment there. Ever since, Fang seemed to inch close to some kind of conclusion. I didn't want to know what conclusion that was. She had some kind of reason or logic behind she seemed to have some kind of reason or logic behind doing something so horrible. But there was no guarantee that it was coherent, or something any of us would really understand if she said it. Maybe she'd never fully understand it herself. Wouldn't be a satisfying answer to anyone. But remembering that look she gave me on the roof, the one right before she jumped, I believe there was a very real possibility she didn't know. All emotions and instincts. Maybe the machinations of a mind that are outside of the grasp of a calm mind. Yeah, it's just the ramblings of a madman. She's sane now, so what are you going to do? None of that mattered, though. I had a job to do. Whatever she said, I would dutifully pass it on to her waiting parents. I don't have an answer for you yet, Dad. As her head dipped along with her wings dragged downward by the frustration at this point. Like, I feel like I know what it is. Like, all the puzzle pieces are there, but they're all jumbled up. I'm trying to put it together. I swear I am. I passed along what she said. My father's eyes flicking between me and what her daughter said. Not as what you wanted to hear. It's gotta be disappointing as hell, but I'm trying. I'm ready to try. Please. Please understand. Fang's hands balled up at the fists on her legs as she stared at the floor. She couldn't bring herself to look at her dad in a moment. I got a terrible habit of being inconsiderate to people before. But being a ghost, now that's just too much. Message relayed. He blinked a few times, and then my stomach dropped out as his brow kinched downward, his mouth tightened into a toothy sneer. You don't know. I leaned forward, my mouth open to plead a cause to easily overpower whatever sad attempt of a counterpoint I would have busted. What the hell do you mean you don't know? For God's sakes, Lucy, you murdered your own brother. You killed Nasser. You killed. Why do you say killed? Murdered is the harsher verb. You murdered Nasser. You murdered. Because killing, I think you can use kill in the context of like accidental. You got someone killed, you know. And 2 other classmates. You killed 4 people and then yourself. If we hadn't gotten there when we did, the wounded you left would have died as well. Hell, you shot and almost killed him! Mr. Aaron spat, an accusatory finger thrust in my direction. I like how Anon's just stoic about this. I mean, to be fair, he's probably processed a lot worse just since he almost killed himself anyway. My eyes flicked toward Mrs. Aaron and recoiled away from him as he leaned forward, taken aback by some outburst. But she didn't seem as shocked or disturbed as the last time. She kept herself planted against the recliner. Her arm remained on the man's shoulder, gently pulling at him. She looked like she wanted to say something, but also letting him have the moment. You did all that, and you have the goddamn gall to say you don't know that you're... The fire quickly sputtered out as he ran out of breath with a pathetic wheeze. It's like someone pulled the plug on an electric fireplace. He coughed once, maybe twice, as Mrs. Aaron... How do you not know? Coughing is very distinct and discreet. It was like, you know. And then his hand moved from covering his cough to clamping over his maw. Took a few deep breaths to settle the fit he'd worked himself into, before slumping backwards again. Didn't take a genius to see we were all wiped out, but of everyone he had the most... everyone he had to be the most hit by this roller coaster of an evening. Again, the line break being in an unfortunate spot is my fault more than the writer, because you don't really control that. It ain't a book. It ain't printed, so the line length is variable to an extent. As Mr. Aaron settled himself after the outburst, how's Fang doing? Yeah, she expected it, I guess. You really don't know? You really don't know. You don't have an answer. And then Alice like sputtered, like, yeah, for being honest, came up a couple of times, honestly. Haven't found an answer. Looking for robots for fine. Let's get some sleep. It's time to go to bed. It's bebbing time. I got a perfect gift for this, but I wouldn't know where to find it. Man, could you imagine if I did just pull out that gif of Ralsei getting like tucked in the it's so cute. Given how late it is, I don't feel comfortable. Okay, he gets to stay tonight. She's right, kid. That part of town sucks. I always drop every junkie off there regardless of whether they live there or not. It's just how we do things in this town. I'm surprised that he cared enough about Wilmington to care about my well-being. Well, shit. I don't have much of a trust. I just can't do anything. I gotta stick around. With a confirming grunt. I guess he didn't kick us out. Sarah repairs with blankets. Knock minor pleasantries with the elder Patero. For a few more minutes, she was happy the whole thing was going. With how the whole thing had gone, even if it was stressful as hell. She gave me compliments about my picture-taking abilities. Mrs. Aaron talked them up like they were make-or-break element of the night, but my whole opinion was that... Yeah, what? When she moved that picture, everything went in a radically different direction. I mean, admittedly, that's like the part where things stop being like, oh, that's just fucking weird, too. Oh, that's... We have entered a new reality. Time to get some mythos knowledge and lose some sanity. Or as Mario likes to say, ha 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 ha. And then they go good night. Tank took a seat next to my head. declared. Fang, could you not sit in my face? I know you can phase through solid matter, but this is just weird. Man, when I posted online I want to get sat on by my goth tarot girlfriend, I never thought that I would be, like, phasing through her butt cheeks. This is just weird, man. Like, it feels like I should be able to see your appendix from here. Actually, Anon, you should be seeing my uterus. Do you not know anything about anatomy? I mean, it's close enough. Actually, no, you probably would be seeing my lower intestine. If your eyeballs aren't, like, on the floor and everything. Dang it. Why are we talking about the organs that you don't even have? You're a spooky ghost. Are you... Is she self-transparent? Like, if Fang puts her hand behind her head, can you see the hand through her head? Or is she, like, opaque to herself? Like a projection? Yeah, it sucked getting yelled at again. I saw him break down. Also, I have there's a pregnant pause. Oh no, we're getting a ghost baby. It's just like in Twilight. I saw him break down. Can't remember the last time I saw that happen. Well, that's gonna hurt, maybe. Out on the deck, he said he was so goddamn disappointed. That's why I did it. Then he asked if it was all his fault, and then he just cried. That's all he did. He just cried. And he never cries, so it's like, what? I don't even know, man. Almost a decade of him being this hard at. And then cries and even wonders if he was to blame for anything. I don't know. I think he would have handled me blaming him better than me not being sure. Yeah, because one of them is at least an answer. Just like, Also, admittedly, right, to some extent, it's like his worldview of, like, if I'm just a hard-ass dad, it works out, right? Because that's how it works in the TV shows. And it doesn't. And he, like, could have had responsibility. That kind of fucks with you. It's like this whole worldview, this whole, like, it's fine. It was never fine. Can I ever be sure that things are fine again? If I don't know what fine is? It's a pretty fucked terrible answer for what it is. I mean, even if it's true, it's not a great answer. It's kind of messed up. It's like, you already did it. You already made your justifications. Where do they go? No, she's gonna make the pancakes. How, Anon? Canada has refused to export its delicious maple syrup for weeks since the tariffs kicked in. How are you ever gonna make Mom's classic pancakes without true Canadian maple syrup? She's gonna have to use imitation treacle. Things will never be the same again. Pushing myself from the couch with effort, I slowly but carefully navigated upstairs bathroom. And you gotta be a little telescopic ear boy. That's what's going to happen today, or maybe what was going to happen tomorrow. Probably both. His wife had kept a big damn secret from him, buttering up to ready for the surprise. Which admittedly is something she'll have to explain. I mean, like, it's understandable, but, like, come on, man. You can't just... What am I hearing? I think it's just crinkling. We're just talking. Just talking like reasonable adults. He wasn't threatening to shoot her this time, which I had to call an improvement. Which was the kind of person that could do that a few months ago. But I guess in a weird way, Fang and I are better about this thing. All that had to do for our relationship to improve was for her to die. Can you imagine? Hard to tell from the trenches. Pretty shit. Yep. Anyway, they're gonna go bed. Time for bed. Whoa! Ugh. My two front teeth slim together. That's just uncomfortable. They're not my molars. My incisors. No, that's like... no, those are canines. Moo cow. The following morning was a calm yet tense affair. Mr. Aaron, despite his efforts, clattered a few pots and pans in the kitchen. I'm sorry. We're probably watching her mom. I can't believe I can't find Fang. She's just watching breakfast. I'm still an idiot. Once I confirm the Phantom Terror position. Like, that is like... That's a double non-alliteration. Because it's not even P. It's not even Phantom Pero. Tarot. It's Phantom Tarot. What the fuck? I wonder if he knows. I wonder if he genuinely doesn't know that the P is silent. Or that the PH in Phantom is like an F. The Phantom Fang, for example, works. Like, in written form, no, it doesn't look like it, but I don't know which one of the two counts in this context. I think it's just English is a fucked up language and needs to get its shit together. That's the real answer. Yeah, Fang has plenty of time to think. Maybe go to an amusement park or something, I don't know. Actually, putting Fang in a roller coaster seems like a terrible idea. She's gonna get jerked along the whole way. I'm too smug about being correct about it. Ugh. Fang, I can't believe you predicted she'd make pancakes for breakfast. How'd you do it? Magic. How long is this part? That's a bit longer. Okay, I think we'll just cut it here for now. Nice, easy 25 minutes.